What's up, everybody? What's up, Josh? I'm just getting Jordan in here. We can get started. JP, what's up, buddy? How you doing, Jordan?
I'm good. I'm trying to find the best lighting situation just because it's so goddamn dark in New York so quick now.
How's everybody doing? I see my boy JP is here.
Oh,
Shout out to JP out from Seattle. But how you doing?
Seattle?
What?
Not from Seattle.
JP is. He's in Seattle, my friend.
Oh, okay.
You better come visit soon, JP. He's never gonna come. It's terrible.
Man.
But welcome everybody. We got a cool one this week. So if you don't know, every week we do a different theme for the live. So last week we had the student athlete live. This week we have the students who started school undecided. And so the idea behind it is that we have a couple students from different backgrounds meet each other with a shared experience and can kind of talk about everything they went through. Jordan, you want to talk about your haircut? Oh, Jordan got kicked out. Jordan's very proud of his haircut. But let me try and get back in. There we go.
I don't know what just happened.
It's all good. But so we have a couple students coming in to talk about their experience being undecided. Jordan, what is the username for your friend? Is he here?
YKJR6. That's the boy, the brother, Yannick. Fortunate news that I'll actually talk about once he gets on here, but he's ditching me tomorrow, even though I'm coming home. But he just doesn't fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't force band. You know what I'm saying? I thought we had yes, sir.
Oh, there we go. What's up, Josh? How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good. How you doing, man?
I'm chilling. Thanks for coming on.
What's up,
Yeah,
Yannick?
no problem.
Coming on?
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Nice to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you.
King of Kigali. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm hyped for this one. Look how he's bringing the people in. I love it. They're like, Yannick's on live? This is the, by the way, first live ever. I told him yesterday to come on the live, and he didn't really catch that it was a live until like I mentioned it again to him today. So, my brother, I appreciate you being here, and I can't wait to unpack your beautiful journey into the amazing man that you are today.
So before we get into it, both of you guys started school undecided. You know, that's the common experience that you have. So while we're going through this, if anybody has any questions for either of them, throw them in the comments. But let's just go ahead, introduce yourselves, talk about where you're from and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll jump into it.
Cool. Well, I guess I can go first. My name's Josh. I'm from Pittsburgh, and I attend Penn State University. And going in, I was undecided, but like I always knew I wanted to do something business related. So that's a little about me.
right. So my name's Unique. I'm currently living in Senegal, but I'm from Rwanda. And for me, I've graduated for a little bit over 2 years now. So I'm done with school for the time being, but of course I'm more than happy to share my experience as all of us here have been through similar things that we could happily share. So glad to be here with you lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Eric, go ahead. You want to kick us off?
Sure. Well, so you came in undecided. What was, just to start it off, I mean, going in before you even started school, what was your feeling about that? Were you nervous? Were you excited for the possibilities? How did you feel kind of emotionally about starting school undecided?
I mean, I don't know if I was nervous. I was more excited just to get out of high school. And so like the main reason I went to Penn State is just because that's like the king of like networking. So it was like kind of easy for me to go there. So I knew I wanted to do something business related, so I figured I'd just go talk to as many like older people I can and just figure my way out through there.
And as for me personally, I wouldn't say that I was 100% undecided. It was one of those things where I was not quite sure if the decision I was making was necessarily the right one, because I felt like my course was far too broad to really help me navigate afterwards within my preferred career path. But without really knowing a lot of people that were doing it within my environment, I kind of had to rely on the teachers a little bit. So that did make me a little bit nervous to begin with, especially during the application process. And when I actually finally started, it was far too broad. and I really doubted myself. But later on, it kind of just made it a little bit easier for me. I took it kind of like a stepping stone, get as much as I possibly can with what I took, and then if I want to be focused later on, I can do it later on.
That's awesome. And so me knowing a bit about your background, you went to school in Europe. Can you remind us where specifically, as well as what university you went to?
Right. So first, high school specifically, I graduated from the British school in the Netherlands, and then for university, I did Webster University as the main campus in St. Louis, but they have a few campuses abroad. So we had one in the Netherlands in a city called Leiden, and that's where I ended up doing my bachelor's. And for my master's, I still stayed in the Netherlands as well.
Awesome, awesome. And in terms of that experience, right? What drew you specifically to doing that? I guess in like staying in the UK, is it in terms of like familiarity? Is it because of family? What kept you in that location?
So to begin with, for me personally, of course, I wouldn't actually apply, the regular process, SATs, applied to a few universities within the US, but I dealt with a few delays within the responses that I was getting. But I really broadened my scope in terms of applications. I knew that the program I had chosen within high school, that's why I wanted to take it, no matter where I took it. But of course, back then as well, I was playing basketball, so for me it was a school that really, despite my level not being the highest, but could still offer me the opportunity to still play and be in school at the same time. So the familiarity definitely played a part in a way when I ended up staying, because I had to make a decision quick at some point as well. So I ended up staying, of course, because family was around. It was an environment I was a little bit more familiar with. And there was not a lot of information about that particular university because it was an American university within the Netherlands. It was not quote unquote common knowledge. So I went out and actually applied. I said, let's give it a shot. So
Love,
that's doing it.
love that, love that, love that. And then how about you, bro? Why Penn State? You know, obviously you wanted to go into a good business program, as you mentioned. For me, you know, going into Penn State, there's a lot of shit I didn't realize about Penn State before going. So why Penn State, and are you happy with the decision that you made?
Yeah, well, I'll start with I remember I was on a tour and I looked in I looked in a pamphlet and I saw this one statistic. It was Penn State University is the number 2 most CEOs come out behind Stanford. So that kind of caught my eye, so that was cool. But like the main like logical reason was the alumni network, 100%. I mean, it's like to the point I've got to firsthand experience it too. Like even if you're at a tailgate, you can go up to any tailgate and just be like start talking to them. You can, talk about their past experiences. And then like at the end of the day, they're just going to give you a beer as well. So that's a good time. And just like a personal reason, my grandfather went there. So I thought it'd be cool kind of just to go back 100 years later. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
So you guys, we already talked a little bit about what the emotions or like what it felt like to go into it. But then once you got to school, you were figuring out your social life, figuring out academics, all that kind of stuff. How difficult was it? Because I know both of you kind of had somewhat of an idea what you wanted to do, but how difficult was it to go from being undecided to being confident and saying, okay, I'm going to go with this specific major? How was that for you?
And were you ever confident as well? Because like you're like dipping your toe and you're like, yeah. So how did that feel?
I guess like for a while, it was more just like a time decision. Like I wanted to really make sure this is like what I want to like make sure if I'm going to put my full focus in something, I want to make sure I, put time and I don't want to like second back on it and, transfer last minute. So, I mean, that was like, it was more of just talking. And the main way I did that is talking to older people, see like what, like the actual major, the courses, the professors, kind of just going through all that. But now I'm in a point where like I'm, confident and glad I made the decision.
As for me, to be honest, in the beginning when I kind of started it, it captured my attention in a bit, so I was not fully reassured. But of course, what helped me out within my own personal way was really discussing with people that I knew were already working in the field. So I would obviously have some discussions with what I'm learning, what I'm excited to really explore, what I'm looking forward to really seeing the process in itself. Because we had a certain rule in a way where you could change your specialization at the end of the academic year or your focus of study. But for me, it was one of those things like I'm not really trying to start something I can't finish. So I really had to push myself to really see the positives of it in the very beginning. But honestly, I ended up falling in love with it. But by the beginning of the second semester, I ended up falling in love with it, and he ended up actually helping me later on within my career as well. So definitely took some time. A semester's not too long, but I ended up falling in love with it, really trusting myself to complete and go the whole way.
Which I obviously know. My brother over here, you do well right now, right? So, do you want to tell people maybe what it is you're currently doing, if that's comfortable with you?
Yeah, so I ended up within the humanitarian field, which was a dream of mine. I just did not know how to even get there. I knew that, for instance, that my program that I did, despite being broad, I could cover some topics that could potentially lead me there. So having had the opportunity to explore it a bit within school and then later on through our internships, it really helped me, of course, grasp, okay, seeing what I did with my bachelor's, seeing the internships I'm doing now, what do I really need to end up going in this particular field? And that really helped me narrow it down to from all the different topics that we had, because I did international relations as a bachelor, and international relations is quite broad in itself. So all those small courses, whether it's international law, whether it's world politics, whatever the case may be, exploring those and then getting to do an internship with it really pushed me and helped me decide, okay, this is what I want to do my master in. And my master is what predominantly drew me to what I'm working in now. And my master was in human public policy and human development. And that ended up also being a good decision, but it would not have happened if I did not push myself from the beginning to really follow the course and trust in that particular process back then.
Happy for you, bro.
That's awesome, man. That's like, it's very impressive. I like you said, you didn't even know how to get into that. I have no idea how you would even like get started doing that kind of stuff, but that's awesome, man. I mean, I'm happy that it all worked out for you. And I know you're talking a little bit about like internships, Josh. I know that you've done some clubs and stuff like that. And in terms of when you don't, maybe before you've locked in that initial major or in general, I know that from my personal experience, and you guys kind of talked about it a little bit, doing it and taking classes in it or getting internships or club leadership positions, whatever, actually doing it and working in it is one of the best ways to really know if you actually like something. Do you guys have advice or from your personal experience, what did you guys do to get experience or to try out different things rather than just thinking about it? And how would you suggest to people who maybe are deciding between a couple different things, how they can do the same?
Yeah, I would say 100% early on into like your college career, you definitely want to get involved with like clubs or organizations. And that's really like the first thing I did. I got on campus and then this dumb guy named Eric came up to me and he asked, "Hey, do you want to join this club?" And then from there, it was nice to meet him early because he's like deeper in the major while I was a freshman. So through that, we were able to I was getting a lot of insight about it. But I would say mainly just getting involved. I mean, there's so much to do on many campuses other than stay in your room and scroll on TikTok. I would say you can literally find people with any interest in any. There's like you can join a pickleball club and start talking about business things. Like I would just say go, leave the dorm, leave the apartment, leave the house.
Oh no, 1,000%. I'm with Josh with this one. You really do need to get involved. You need to. I had the opportunity as well within my uni. It took me. I feel like my first year I was not really that involved within clubs and that were within the school itself. But it was up until my sophomore year that I really explored it, and I had the opportunity. I was quite fortunate. We had a Model United Nations club, and we used to attend conferences that other universities would be organizing across Europe. So we would attend them sometimes twice a year, sometimes once or three times a year. And that in itself, that was kind of like the first hands-on experience in really seeing how the mechanism of what I wanted to work in actually functions and actually have that practice. That's already still in school, and that would not have happened if I did not really get to take part, think about, okay, this is how it goes. How can I handle myself in this situation, even now early on? So that was really helpful. And then when it came to the internships, it was one of those things where even if you're undecided, the moment that you really get to your second year and you should already, I feel like at least an advice I could give would be start thinking ahead already. Start thinking ahead in terms of, okay, the moment I'm done, what am I trying to do? And the best lesson, it's one thing to really be in class and actually study the contents of your course. But when you actually get that first-hand experience, you get to learn so much more that you could possibly have imagined. And for me personally, it's been my way of learning. I've learned a ton throughout the internships themselves, but also even when I got into work, it really helped me move forward a lot faster and a lot better. So really get involved, really start thinking about it, and actually just do it. Because you can think about all you want, but at the same time, you need to really take that decision and say, okay, let me start looking into this and actually let me take action. That's the only way to really go for it.
Good boy spitting, man. You can feel, like, you can feel the,
Back.
you feel me? But you're 100% correct. I feel like even if I had somebody when I was going into university just tell me like look for organizations, get involved, that's how it's going to help you out so much. Even just that one sentence, wallahi, my entire university experience. Me, I came in, I was like, I'm alone. I have my group of people that we like to do the same things. You know, I'm done. You know, it was hands off. And then I just had one of my friends or a friend of a friend came to me. He was like, yo, I think you should join this business fraternity. Started off with that. Then I got into ASA. Then I got into, you know, AMA. It was all these different things that I wish I knew from the beginning. But again, you know, everything happens for a reason and on its timing. But it's good. And I completely agree with the advice that you both gave. Eric, do you want your famous question?
Sure. Well, but first, I agree completely. Like I don't know why, but when I joined and started school, I just didn't do anything. Like I don't know if I thought I was too cool, if I was just lazy. I don't know what it was, but I just didn't do anything. And and then boom, COVID hit. So then 2 years of not doing anything. And then by the time I actually started doing stuff, I was halfway through college, and I was like, damn, like I wish I had made all these friends, everything freshman year. And so, I mean, I know both of you guys are talking about getting involved right away. Like, and Josh, obviously, I had the personal experience. Like, literally from freshman year, you were involved in doing all this kind of stuff. Like, that's what I wish I had done. That's what I'm happy to hear you guys had done, because you can talk, like you said, dude, you could talk as much as you want about anything, and you can think about it from different ways and convince yourself of different things until you take that class or do that internship or have that leadership position and really do it and live it and breathe it and see what it's actually like, not like outside of a textbook, but in real life. You're not going to know whether you like it or not. And so if you go through all this studying and whatever just to start doing it in the real world, and you hate it, like what's the point? So you may as well get that experience beforehand and truly understand it. And I think that's like you said, Jordan, that's the biggest, like, one sentence to tell people: just get involved right away from the jump.
Just do it. Just do it. Even if you don't, go do it. And then nobody's holding a gun to your head. Just leave if you don't like it. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know? Like me, I jumped into things. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this for a little bit. Decided not to be so involved and just pivoted onto other things that, you know, made me happy. So yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But
so
it helps.
what was
No, it
it?
helps because you get to try and see if you actually like it or you don't like it. Because how are you supposed? You're not going to be able to really see if there's some joy or some satisfaction or something that you're learning from that if you don't really get to be involved with it. That's kind of like what makes it or break it. Do I like it? Do I not like it? And then from then onwards, you know, okay, I've tried this out. Now let me just uh, go on to different avenues.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And especially with clubs, I mean, you could join 10 clubs and quit 9 of them or quit 10 of them. Like, no one doesn't matter. Like, just try it. You never know.
That was,
Um, But so if that's the thing you should do, right? And that's the the trick or whatever. That's the golden ticket to understanding this stuff. What is something that you guys did or you've seen other people do that you think you shouldn't do, that you should completely avoid, and that people give bad advice saying it?
Maybe not completely avoid, but you would suggest against it.
Well, I would just say I feel like your first year when a lot of people are in their dorms. I don't know if this is something I noticed, but like I think just getting out of your bed, like even I don't like if, even like not even doing homework in your bed. Like I think when you're in your bed, you're more likely to like get distracted. Like I always think like you should have different areas for when you complete different tasks. If you're doing your homework, you should have like a set area for that. because that will just like all your focus is there, and it's the same thing like your bed should kind of just be where you like sleep or like watch TV. So I would just say like stay out of your bed would be, I guess, the first thing that came to my head.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it would be it's as much as I always say, you know, you should be active, and that's what I did in my own case, be active. But if things are getting tough, do seek some help because you find yourself in a situation that if you're riding it solo, and you do obviously you will burn out at some point, but also keeping everything in doesn't really help. And I've seen situations like that where I mean, you are focused, you got everything going on, but if you do speak it out, there may be someone else that actually could kind of help you take that load off, actually help you navigate through. So for me, it's something that I did not see being done often when I started. And people were dealing with different issues, sometimes the same issues, but since no one is really talking about it, no one is really navigating and moving forward with it and actually advancing in the same direction. So it would definitely be that. Find some form of support system. As much as organized as you are, as everything looks to be all right, if you do have that hurdle, do definitely speak it out. Even if it's your friend, roommate, whatever the case may be, definitely air it out, and you'll definitely feel a lot much better, and you will actually be able to advance.
I'm very happy that you mentioned that because that is true. Especially in the beginning, you know, when you don't know, you go from home where you have this whole community, and you go to this school where you might not know anybody or have any type of community, which is another reason to join clubs. But like you said, man, I mean, you're going through it. You could have everything going for you and still not be happy or still be overwhelmed. And you don't even have to go to, you know, the mental health resource, whatever, just your friends or your, you know, other people and just say it out loud. It makes you feel better about it. They're probably dealing with the same thing. Like that's something that people don't talk about enough. So I'm very happy that you mentioned that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then actually, Eric, it brings me back to when we were shooting content at Penn State, and there was the guy who was sitting on the bench,
Yeah.
not feeling good about himself whatsoever. He was Brazilian, first time in the U.S. He came to do his master's at Penn State, but he didn't have a community around him. He didn't have any, like, he was so homesick. His father wanted him to return home, and like I could tell that even just us asking him about it and him being able to like kind of let that load off a little bit onto strangers, people that he didn't know and that we're never going to see again. It helped, you know, because he was able to be like, okay, even if these people might not necessarily understand me, at least they're hearing me, they're listening to me, and that helps me. So yeah, I love both of those suggestions you guys made.
Absolutely. Well, to wrap it, I guess, what's one piece, and it might be something you said already, but if you could talk to yourself when you were, you know, a couple months, or when you're choosing a college, I guess, because that's kind of where we're at is in the cycle right now. If you could talk to yourself when you were making that decision between, you know, 2 or 3 different schools and give yourself one piece of advice or one piece of wisdom about, you know, just to help your past self out or to help kids who are in that same spot right now, what would you say?
For me, it will not sound diplomatic or not, but it's a component of just shooting your shot and really trusting yourself and trusting your ability. Like what I dealt with, which was very difficult, was really applying everywhere and not seeing any response and really kind of losing hope and really start losing hope. The worst you could do, actually, there's nothing that you could potentially be losing out on in the sense where apply everywhere you possibly can imagine. You have your first choices, of course, but you can also have other alternatives that could potentially help you go to the next step. And that's something that I did not understand because for me, it was one of those like, it's make it or break it. If I don't get into where I want to go, it's done for me. Like I don't really see myself going anywhere else. So it's really one of those really shoot your shot as much as you can and trust in yourself and trust the process and believe that it will be okay. So I would tell myself it will be okay.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. That's great. I would also just say, just like make sure if you're stressed about like just do your research. I mean, really, just like open up, just make a notes and put on the pros, cons, what people say. You could always there's so many ways to reach out to alumni from every single university. I would just make you'll have less stress if you just do your research and it'll be fine. Just trust the process.
Trust the process.
No cap, no cap. Sometimes, especially like I was talking to an amazing friend of ours, Salu. I was talking to Jess's little sister about what happens if you don't get into where you want to go, and it's like nobody can tell you where you want to go. It's not the university that makes you. You make the university. So at the end of the day, make sure that whatever happens, you just trust that the process is going to be your journey. It's not anybody else's journey. It's your journey. So yeah, thank you guys.
Sometimes to a less, just say like maybe a less prestigious school or a school that has less competition. Sometimes it's good because there's more opportunity for you. You know what I mean? Like if you're the best one there, and it's like you said, you make the experience, you make the university. Like just because when you're applying to schools and you're in the midst of it and everyone's comparing themselves to each other and everyone's like one or two ranking spots matters, all of this. The second you get into college, none of that matters anymore. Like like none of it matters. You're all at the same spot. You're all doing the same thing. Now you're just taking advantage of what you got. So I know right now it might seem like every little detail, every little pro and con, like it's important to lay it all out. But at the end of the day, every school is the same. Like it's all pretty much like they're not the same, but they're very similar, and it's all about what you do yourself.
One thing I can tell anybody who's watching this is no matter what class you're in, Harvard or a no-name school, there's always going to be a genius in your class and a doorknob in your class, and that's gonna happen regardless. Like there's always gonna be that person you're like, how did they even get to here? There's always gonna be that person. So never worry about that.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for popping on. I mean, I think that was a lot of really like if I was a senior in high school right now, I would feel so much better. I would be so happy to hear all that. So thank you guys for popping on. Really appreciate it. It was great to meet you, man. And I think, Josh, obviously I know you. So thank you, bro, for popping on. It's been exciting. This kid's making waves. Watch out for Josh, and he's going crazy.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
But
Yannick, I wish that you were home tomorrow when I arrive, but I know that you gotta go back. You gotta go back to your home for a little bit, and then when you get back, I'm excited.
And honestly, I wanted to give props to you guys as well. What you're doing is absolutely beautiful. I wish that back in when I started, I definitely had a group of people that were out there really exploring all these different topics and really helping me navigate through it. So honestly, props to you guys for what you are doing. It's phenomenal work, and keep it going. And you got our full support behind you.
100%.
Thank you.
Well, before we end it, just so everybody knows who's here, we do this every single Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It's the UniTrue Inside Scoop Live. We bring on wonderful guests like Yannick and Josh to talk about their experiences. Every single week we have a theme. This week was Undecided, going to college undecided. Last week was student athletes. Next week, you'll have to pop on to find out, but check the stories because we'll tell you what it's going to be. But we do it every single week, unfiltered answers, all the kind of stuff that you need to know while you're going through that university search process and making your decision. So if you're stressed out, pop in, ask your questions, you'll feel a lot better. But good luck to everybody. Oh, finals are pretty much over, so congratulations if you're done with your finals. Enjoy you're on your breaks. I know you're out of that a little bit, so just enjoy life, man. But it was great to meet you. Josh, good to see you, bro.
Thank you.
All right, UniTrue, happy Sunday, people. Stay blessed.
Peace out.